Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. I love you. Sending you a very big virtual hug wherever you are on the earth plane in this now moment. So I've taken a couple of days off and I sat this morning and I just tapped into the energy of the collective, and the word that came through was trauma. Trauma. And I'm like, well, that's nothing new. We've been going through so much trauma, healing our own trauma, healing and clearing the collective's trauma. There's so much trauma that is being brought up in each of us. Projected onto other humans, and the collective as a whole as well. Massive purging of trauma from the collective. But here's what my guides were showing me today. I want you to imagine your body as the onion. And as you peel back each layer of that onion, you're actually peeling back density because your body is holding higher frequencies. Do you see the sunburn? This is from my scrunchie. Side note, this is literally a sunburn. Anyway, your body is the onion, okay? And as your body starts to and continues to hold higher frequencies, the onion begins to peel. The density that you've been holding in your body starts to fall away based on the frequencies that you're starting to hold and continuing to hold. And what happens is two things. One, you get closer and closer to the wholeness of who you have always been. The complete version of you that is whole, sovereign, aligned, connected, the consciousness that you are. And what also happens at the exact same time, simultaneously, is you get to the core of your trauma, the wound of all wounds. So every layer gets you a little bit closer to the wholeness of who you have always been, and it gets you deeper into the trauma that started at whatever age that you have been denying, suppressing, or playing out in different behaviors, thoughts, beliefs, and emotions your entire life. And many of you, as you have been sort of peeling back these layers, many of you have been tapping into that core trauma, tapping into it as you peel back the layers, so you feel like you've been clearing it, you feel like you've healed it, but it hasn't been, the core of it hasn't been touched. And when you touch the core of your wound, there is a massive breakdown. There is almost like a dropping to your knees. I don't think I'm going to survive. Who am I? How am I in this body? I don't feel like I'm in this body. I want to get out of this body. You don't feel like you. It's almost like you shift into an altered state of reality, or like an altered version of you. It's a very strange feeling, but that's when you really tap into the core of that wound. And the reason you feel this disconnect, the reason you feel out of your body or not who you are or scared, like you're losing your mind or you don't have control, is because from the moment you had that initial deep trauma, you have spent your entire life denying, suppressing, and doing everything you can to not feel that trauma. And every trauma on top of that, you've done the same. We all have. It's the human experience. Not every trauma is buried. Lots of traumas we've cleared out. Lots of traumas we've looked at and healed. Lots of traumas didn't stay for very long. But there are core traumas that are still in our bodies that we have created an entire life around in order to not feel it, in order to not acknowledge it, in order to not see it. And it can be as small as something happening at school when you were 4 years old, or something as big as a massive abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, assault, things like that, right? It can be anything. But regardless of what it is, it's a massive core trauma in your body. And every layer that you peel back, because you're holding higher frequencies, you're clearing the density from your body, you're getting closer and closer to that core trauma. And that is when you can feel out of control, losing your mind, crazy. Here I go again, dropping to my knees. I don't feel like I can be who I am. I'm not going to make it through this, etc., etc. This is powerful, deep work that you are doing right now. Powerful, deep, alchemizing work. You are literally alchemizing your entire body right now when you continue to courageously pull back the onion, pull back the density, hold the higher frequencies in your body, and courageously dive deep into that trauma. So there is nothing wrong with what you are feeling. If you feel like you've gone crazy, or if you feel like you've been dropping to your knees a lot, or if you feel like you're not who you are right now, you feel out of control, you feel things that you've never felt before, or what you are feeling is super, super intense, welcome to diving deeper into the trauma, the core trauma, and welcome to peeling back the layers. Okay? We're doing this individually and we're doing this collectively. I don't know how long this is going to last, but I know that it gets easier as we continue to courageously peel back the layers. And I know that the more we understand what's happening, the easier it is for us to do it, right? So we don't judge ourselves or attach to the fact that we're crazy and losing our minds and this isn't how you shift and this isn't how you evolve. This is exactly how you shift. This is exactly how you evolve. This is how the alchemization process works. The core, dense traumas, individually and collectively, have to be seen, have to be felt, and then are allowed to be alchemized and shifted out by seeing and feeling. Seeing just means, oh, there is something coming up in me. There's something I'm tapping into. I'm now dropping to my knees. I now don't feel like myself. I now don't want to go out and socialize, right? I now want to run away and hide in a cave. I now want to scream and pull my hair out. Whatever it is you're going through, it's the alchemization process of the physical body shifting from a lower state of consciousness to a higher state of consciousness. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it, nothing weird about it, nothing out of the ordinary. Embrace it. This doesn't last. Nothing lasts. Everything is in motion. Everything moves. Everything flows, including your breakdowns and including the clearing out of your trauma. In fact, I would even say that if the faster you can dive into the trauma and say, let's keep going, let's keep going, let's keep going, let's go, what else, what else, what else, the faster you're going to release that trauma. And the faster you're going to recognize how easy it is to just let the trauma come up. Let it be. Just let it all be. Who cares? Because it's allowing you to shift. It's allowing you to hold higher states of consciousness. The trauma has to come out. If you resist, if you stop, if you block, if you judge, if you attach, it's going to hang out a little bit longer. So dive in. Dive in means feel it. You're not crazy. You're shifting, you're evolving, you're alchemizing. You're being the being of light in human form that you came down here to be. You're doing it right now. Nothing is out of place in your now moment, regardless of what you may think. Nothing. There is no rock out of place. There's no color out of place. There's no word out of place. Nothing's out of place. Everything is exactly the way it is designed to be in your now moment, allowing you to continue to courageously shift into higher states of consciousness. Your thoughts and beliefs will tell you different. Let them be. Come back to the knowingness of who you are. Remember trauma, peeling back the layers, peeling back the onion, moving deeper into the wholeness of who you have always been, your sovereignty, and that trauma is there, part of the human journey, and there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. And the steps that I take to move through trauma when I feel it is I devour it in the now moment when it comes up. I devour it. So when I feel it, I acknowledge it. When I feel something coming up, an old pattern, an old way of being, an old thought, meaning something that I haven't thought in a long time or felt in a long time or done in a long time, and here it comes. Oh, here comes that trauma. I'll pull it up and have it sit right next to me at the dinner table. Come on, self-worth, let's go. Self-worth has been a big one for me. Big one the last couple weeks. How worthy are you, Lori? How worthy do you believe yourself to be? That stems from a very young trauma that I had. So here I am peeling back the layers of this onion, i.e. shifting into higher states of consciousness, and this trauma down here is like, oh yeah, you really think you're worthy of that? Do you really think you're worthy of that? Wait a second. You held all these beliefs about yourself that you weren't worthy, that you don't deserve, that you don't get to have it. So these last couple of weeks, it's been this pattern of breaking this pattern that I've done based on this trauma that I held at a very young age inside my body. So as I continue to hold higher frequencies, the trauma gets louder. I hear these old patterns, these old thoughts, these old ways of being. Old meaning I'm not always doing it, but I used to do it a lot. I used to believe it a lot. And now it's like, do you still believe it? Are you still feeling that unworthiness? Or do you know that you are worthy? Do you know that you are worthy? And if you do, can you be that worthiness right now, Lori? Can you own it? Can you embody it? Can you experience worthiness in your now moment? And then I would literally practice, what does that feel like? What does worthiness feel like to me? And then you shift the trauma. So I felt it, I heard it, I saw it, I recognized that it was a previous thing I've done in my past, or something I've been continuing to do that I don't want to do anymore. And it doesn't matter if you can attach it to a specific trauma or not. A lot of you guys are going to ask, well, what if I don't know the trauma? It doesn't matter if you know the original trauma. Let that go. Stay present. If you're meant to know that trauma, you'll know that trauma. And until you know that trauma, let the trauma just be. Instead, what's popping up in your now? What old beliefs, what old patterns, what old behaviors, or what behaviors, thoughts, beliefs, patterns are continuing to be shown to you that you no longer want to have, be, do? Hold it, bring it to the dinner table saying, come on in, let's go, let's do this, here it is, and then decide. Choose. Thank you for showing yourself. Wow, I have not held worthiness for a very long time. I'm going to choose to be self-worthy. I'm going to choose to have value and worth and receive exactly what I want in my life in all the different areas. And how do I do that? I feel it. Instead of playing in the wounds and the traumas from a very long time ago that I believed to be my truth. I hope that made sense. Traumas will pop up in a now moment as false or illusionary states of being. I believed that I wasn't worthy. That's an illusion. We are all worthy of everything and anything, and we deserve it all, always. But traumas can make you believe that you're not worthy. And then you play that out your entire life, programming yourself into not being worthy. So in this now moment, we have 1 minute left in this video. In this now moment, is there anything coming up or continuing to come up that is from a past that you don't want anymore? Bring it to the dinner table, look at it, feel it, acknowledge it, and then choose how you do want to be, feel, and think, and let it go. Let it go by honoring it, i.e. seeing it and feeling it. And allow yourself to experience whatever it's experiencing in every now moment. I love you. Thank you for being here. You're a freaking rock star. You are a rock star on stage, and you're nailing it. I love you.